What's up guys, Andre here, and it's a moment of truth because we just got our Joy-Cons back from Nintendo from repair. It's time to see if they solved the problem. Now in case you've been following our coverage the past few weeks, or coverage really anywhere, what ended up happening is some people have been having issues with the Joy-Con, specifically the left Joy-Con, occasionally losing connection with the Switch, which would then cause, in a game like Zelda, Link to keep running in whatever direction he was already moving, meaning you might run off a tower, or off a building, or something else. Yeah, it wasn't good. So, we did a bunch of tests in a couple of videos, which you'll find links to in the description below if you want to check those out, where we tried replicating those problems to see if we could do it ourselves, and sure enough, we could. In fact, we had experienced the problem ourselves before even making that video. So, we sent our Joy-Cons in for repair because Nintendo has since come out with a statement saying that some people were in fact having issues and that they would fix the problem for free, which makes sense, it's within warranty, just by sending it in. So we sent them in on Thursday, we've gone back just yesterday, and it's time to see if it actually solves the issue. So, real quick before we get to the test, even though the problem was mostly with the left Joy-Con, I actually sent both in just to see if it would solve or improve anything with the right Joy-Con, because we were actually able to issue or replicate similar issues with the right Joy-Con, even though it was much more difficult to the point where it wasn't really an issue, but I just want to see if that made a difference. And what ended up happening is Nintendo ended up repairing the left Joy-Con, so it's the same Joy-Con but repaired, so they say, and the right Joy-Con was actually replaced completely. So we're going to see what's going on here by doing the same test we did before, where we're going to go to the calibrate control stick screen, and we're going to rotate the control stick with my left thumb here. And if we see any kind of like jitteriness or any kind of like hopping around or stuttering, that means there's a connectivity issue. Now so far it's flawless, it looks good, which makes sense because that's, you know, there's nothing obstructing the view right now, we're not really doing anything that would cause a problem. So let's go start doing some of our more in-depth tests where we can see if we can replicate the issue. So first up, we're going to go down to our leg, down my thigh, just put it right there and see if it has any problems. So far it looks good, it's responding perfectly well. We'll move it a little bit more inward, and it's still looking pretty good. So we had an issue before where it would jump around there, and so far it's performing well. So it looks like they did actually improve the problem, or resolve the issue. But next, let's go ahead and do the hand test. We're going to move my right hand closer, see if that causes any issues. But before, even moving my other hand closer at all would cause it to jump around. And so far, it's looking good. No matter how I move my hand around here, it's not reacting at all. Except there was a short jump there. Overall, though, it looks much improved. But one of the big tests before was covering it completely. So let's see what happens if we cover it this time completely. So far so good, but I'm gonna move my hand around, and there we go. Now we're starting to see a little bit of jitteriness. Not a huge deal, but there was a little bit of connectivity issue there. I'm gonna try and cover a little bit more here. Now I've got it pretty much covered completely, and we can see there is some jumpiness. Again, I mean, this is pretty unrealistic for how you're gonna be playing. It does show that the connection is still not absolutely perfect, but the issue does seem to be much improved. Now, of course, we have to do the infamous behind the back test and see if that fares any better. So here we go, behind the back. So far so good. We'll go right behind my backbone, and there we go. There we're having some major connectivity issues. That's pretty similar to before, maybe a little bit better. But yeah, that looks pretty much identical. But again, you're not really going to be playing behind with the Joy-Con behind your back. Now, for comparison, the reason I did the behind the back test in the first place is because you know, obstructing Bluetooth signals is nothing new, but some devices are better at it than others. And this is something I haven't done on camera before, but we're going to use the Pro Controller real quick, and we're going to go behind the back as well. First off, we'll go by the thigh, no issue. We'll go behind the back, no issue at all either. So that's why I did the behind the back test originally, was because I knew the Pro Controller was not having any issues at all, whereas I was with the left Joy-Con. So here's what this means. So basically, according to people who have torn down the Joy-Con since they got back from Nintendo, apparently Nintendo has added a conductive type of foam in here that I believe just extends the area in which it can emit or receive a signal. So what that means is it's harder, from what I can tell, it's harder to obstruct the signal now. It's still possible, as you saw, but it's harder, and in all my conventional testing where I played it like how I would normally, I didn't see any issues at all. So that's good. However, we're still dealing with an object that's quite a bit smaller than the Pro Controller, which I think is why it's easier to obstruct the signal than it is with the Pro Controller. Like, the Pro Controller is massive. You can't realistically cover with your hand or a body part, or, you know, with a body part, like it can with the Joy-Con. Or even just holding it already covers basically more, you know, around half, if not more, the controller itself. Whereas with the Joy-Con, or sorry, with the Pro Controller, like a single hand, you know, even using both hands, there's still huge amount of it that's exposed. So I think that's probably what the issue is, the main issue. And I shouldn't even be calling it an issue at this point, really, because I really had to go out of my way now at this point to create those issues. Because again, in casual testing, let's go back here. I mean, I sat back, I played it casually, I tried, crossing my leg. It looks good. Whereas even before, even though I didn't explicitly show it on camera all the time, with conventional testing or more casual testing, I should say. I was having issues before. Whereas now, not only am I not, it's harder to even replicate the issues I was before with a hand test. Which you can see here, it's hard. It's harder to do now. So basically what I'm getting at is, it's not perfect. I think it's good enough. I don't want to say that definitively because, of course, your exact situation is going to, be different. I myself am sitting about 10 feet away from my Switch. Otherwise, there's nothing else obscuring it. If you sit back even farther, it's possible you may still have issues because, as I mentioned, going behind the back still introduces issues. But again, that is a bit extreme, I think. If that's the main thing causing issues at this point, it's not that big of a deal. Now, one thing we haven't talked about real quick is the right Joy-Con. Because at this point, I would say the left Joy-Con is performing better than the right Joy-Con was before. But let's see how that holds up. So we got the right Joy-Con here. We're going to do some casual testing real quick. I'm going to use my left hand because it's easier for me using the left hand. Okay, right now looks good. We'll try to move my right hand closer. Looking good so far too. We're going to cover it completely. Still good. If I cover it as much as I can. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's still good so far, so I was actually able to replicate an issue before, but right now it's looking really good. Here we go. If I cover, there we go. Now we're getting issues, but I'm really going on my way to cover this with both hands right now. And we'll go behind the back, and we can see a similar issue as before with the right Joy-Con. So, yeah, so quick summary. What it seems like this fix did is, it seems like now both Joy-Cons basically perform at parity. In fact, if anything, I would say the left Joy-Con is maybe even a little bit better now than the right Joy-Con. But no one is really reporting issues with the right Joy-Con before. So even though I was able to create issues, or produce similar issues, the left Joy-Con really was the one that was exhibiting the bigger issues. And it seems like they have not only resolved it, but they've, or mostly resolved it, but they've brought it up to parity, if not improved it upon the right Joy-Con. So, yeah, I know I've summarized it a few times now. Basically, it seems like, as far as I can tell, for me, the problem seems to be pretty much fixed. It's possible we may still have the occasional interference issue, at least in my situation, but it seems like that would really be the exception at this point. Like, I would, at this point, almost compare it to the Wavebird. The Wavebird is kind of considered by many to be like the gold standard of controllers, where even with that controller, I would have connectivity issues before, and at this point, I would say I'm now having fewer of them with the Joy-Cons than I did with the Wavebird. So, yeah, again though, if you are completely serious about playing, you don't want any obstructions or problems at all, I would say the Pro Controller is the way to go. I've had zero issues with this one at all, and it's still, I mean, even behind the back, as you saw from 10 feet away, worked flawlessly. But again, at this point, I think the problem is largely fixed with the Joy-Cons. I cannot say that definitively, I can only speak for myself, but it does seem like it's largely good to go. It's not absolutely perfect, but it seems like they did a pretty good job in making the Joy-Cons work well enough, in that they won't casually lose signal now when you're playing a game, as far as I can tell. Anyways, there you guys go. That is a quick, that is my findings of what I found. Let us know if you found anything different in our comments below, if you've had them fixed yourself. And if you haven't had it fixed, call Nintendo. If you've had issues, get it fixed. They'll fix it for free. As far as I can tell, you only need to send the left one in if you haven't, unless you've been having problems with the right one as well. But the left one, my right Joy-Con seems to be identical to before, basically. The left Joy-Con is where the problem was, and it seems like they fixed it. Send it in, it's free, give them a call, I recommend it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for lots more on Nintendo Switch in general, and all things gaming as well about Nintendo. Catch you later, bye. Oh man, I had to make that video a bunch. God, I hate doing these freaking live videos. Yep, I'm just talking to you now casually because I suck at this, and hopefully I'll get better. Alright guys, catch you later. Bye.